Hi, I'm Gian, but for short and sweet, they call me G. Hence, Keeping It G with G, the podcast. This is a weekly heart-to-heart based off of authentic life experiences and honesty, in hopes to inspire others to be more transparent about the ups and downs of everyday life shit. And to give you, the listeners, that extra push you may need to begin your own journey of self-help and healing. And please, keep in mind that I'm not an expert, I'm just speaking from experience. Now let's start the show. Happy Monday and welcome to episode 32 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you enjoyed that time with your family and friends and that you were able to be present and really bask in the moment, because I know I did. And once again, thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode to hear me talk my shit on the podcast. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get right into this week's episode, which I think will touch those who need to hear it most in a very special way. This week, I want to talk about being a girlfriend versus God friend. Are you a girlfriend or a God friend? This is a question that I asked myself last week while I was sitting back thinking about friendships. And I know when I said girlfriend, that probably made you think about relationships, but I was more or less talking about friendships. Are you a girlfriend or a God friend? Am I just a girlfriend or a God friend? So I'm going to break this down for those who don't understand. I'm 29, and I don't know if it's just because I'm at a place in my life where I have very little tolerance for lifeless interactions, gossiping, one-sided friendships, where it's 80-20 and not 50-50 or what. But I will say this. No, your friend will not be able to be there for you every single time you may need them, because don't forget that they're human and they have lives too. I actually seen a tweet the other day that said, adulthood friendships require you to check your ego when assuming that people aren't showing up for you as if they don't have a full life and obligations. And that tweet was by Ty Hot Commodity. And this made me sit back and think, because it's very true. And I had to get myself out of thinking that people just had to be there for me 24/7. It wasn't until I started my own journey on, caring for myself and self-care, which is so popular. And I talk about that a lot on the podcast, but it wasn't until I started checking in with myself that I realized that it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm straight first before I put that type of responsibility on someone else. Like I said, I've definitely had to teach myself that lesson. This is where checking in on yourself comes into play. And again, it's no one else's number one priority to make sure you're okay, except yourself. So don't forget that or put that type of responsibility on anyone else, because that can be very dangerous. But with friendships, I don't want to just talk just to talk, because you or I both feel obligated. That's not natural. And if it feels forced, my spirit will just reject it. I want to talk about real shit, lean on one another, encourage one another. I've come to realize a girlfriend is just that friend you talk to every now and again. You can't quite gauge the nature of the friendship, or if it's just convenient for the both of you, you kind of just talk about shit, but it doesn't get deep. It's like surface, like on the surface. And that's okay. But a God friend, these are the bonds where you just know that it's God ordained, where it's understood. These are bonds where God handpicked this person to be in your life for a specific reason. They keep you on course. They call you out on your BS respectfully. You're encouraging one another. You're leaning on one another. You can relate in a lot of ways on a spiritual level. You keep one another accountable. It's supportive. You both do the work to make it your business to keep the friendship afloat on both ends. They also push you to be your best self and genuinely support you in that way. It's not really any tit for tat. The phone works both ways shit. That shit is dead. I really hate when people say the phone worked both ways. You could have called me. And that's true. It does work both ways, but we too grown. If you care about someone genuinely, it takes nothing to check on them. Period. Even if it's just a quick, hey, how are you feeling? Just checking in. But again, don't be selfish about it and think that it's their priority or responsibility to always make sure you're straight. Now, if it becomes a lingering situation, then call them out on it and hold them accountable and move accordingly. But if you are finding yourself being that friend that's doing most of the work with checking in and being there for them, and it's not really an even kill situation, then of course don't overexert yourself. Pay attention to the signs, pay attention to behavior, pay attention to the way that they make you feel, the way you make them feel. Friendship shouldn't be an uphill battle. I'm just at a place where I'd rather have 2 good friends and my 2 sisters versus having 8 different friends where I can't gauge the nature of the friendship and I'm just entertaining people just to be entertaining them. I'm just too old and I don't feel like I'm better than anybody in that way. I just feel like a lot of times when you can model the way that you treat yourself, it teaches people how to treat you. And the way that you're there for others, it kind of teaches them to be there for you in that same way, especially if you're leading with genuineness and care and love, then they'll do it in return if they have the capacity to do so. But if they don't, you also have to respect that as well. I always say on the podcast that I'm never trying to force you guys into believing or doing the things that I do in the manner that I do them. It's just that I feel like I have a keen spirit for this. And when I'm behind this mic, I be meaning what I say. I'm not just talking to talk. I'm talking because I make it make sense. And it's just that on that. I'm not trying to step on people's toes. I'm not trying to indirectly call people out. I am very honest. And I'm saying this to say to always be aware of your surroundings and be honest with yourself, like I said last week. But like I was saying, just go with your intuition, because most times it's not even worth going against it. If you feel it, 9 times out of 10, it's real and you have to go with it. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, am I a friend or am I a God friend? Like, am I being there in the way that I need to? And I think it takes a lot of looking at yourself and being honest about what you have the capacity to do, because if you don't feel well, or if you're not a person that really knows how to be a friend, then it's important for you to be honest with yourself in that way, because it'll help you to get to where you need to be. So my advice to you is to really, really, really get to know yourself and to be honest with yourself, and don't do more than what you can do. You have to move how you need to move, how you're able to move. You can't do more than what you're able to. And that's okay. You just have to communicate that to your friend, and hopefully they'll understand and try to help you along the way. And so that's that. I wanted to keep the episode short and sweet as usual. I don't want to pull your ear for too long, but I know I had said that. I was talking to a friend before and they were like, your episodes are kind of short and blah, blah, blah. But it's just that I feel like I get straight to the point very early. And when I find myself listening to other podcasts that are like an hour or so, I kind of go in and out. Like, I'm listening to it, but then I take the bits and pieces of what I've heard or what I've learned and then I run with it. Versus the ones that are short and sweet and they get straight to the point. I take more information from them because, to be honest, the attention span right now is short. So I find that if I record episodes and they're straight to the point, then I feel like they hit a little bit better than the hour or so episodes once. But if I do feel like I have to talk about a topic that has to be that long, then I will. But for now, I like to keep them short and sweet and get straight to the point. So yeah, that was my spill on that. I don't want to ramble, but just ask yourself if you're a guy friend or a girlfriend. Because when I asked myself that, I came up with I'm a guy friend because I know the intent of my heart. I know that I mean well. I know that I love people. I know that I push my friends to be their best selves. I know that I make sure that my energy is in check when I'm around them so that, because energy can jump. So if I'm not feeling okay, I don't feel like it's okay for me to go into their space if I'm not okay. Because if they need me, then I need to be able to be attentive. So, are you a girlfriend or a guy friend? Ask yourself that. Are you leading with love? Are you being genuine with your shit? Are you giving 50-50 or are you giving 80-20? And if you aren't, be honest with yourself about it. And that's the episode. I don't want to keep you too long, like I said. Don't forget to follow the Instagram page for the podcast, to follow the Twitter for the podcast. I will update you on the read for December once I figure out which book I'm going to read, because I purchased a bunch of books last month, but I haven't quite figured out which book that I wanted to start on for this month going into the new year. It's already December and 2020 will be here in a couple of more weeks. Whew. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. And lastly, don't forget to check out the playlist for the podcast. It's so dope. It's a bunch of songs that are just like a vibe of, it's like a life playlist, my life playlist. That's how I feel about it. And I feel like it can uplift the next person. So if you have checked it out, be sure to share it so that I can share it on my Instagram story and my Twitter. And thank you to all the supporters, the people who repost the episodes, who follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and who have checked out the playlist. I promise your support does not go unnoticed. I love you. Thank you for tuning in and have a great week. Happy Monday. You will get through. Just stay focused, stay steadfast. And again, lastly, stay away from negative energy because misery loves company. Let them be by themselves. Have a great week, y'all. I'll talk to you guys next week. Same time, same place for episode 33.